live here. And it looks like we are live. What is going on, guys? Flynn Masters coming at you with the third episode, the third stream podcast of Hell's Kitchen Season 23, Head Chefs Only. And as you guys saw, and if you didn't know, you can see now, I am so excited for the first time in the 2 seasons of doing this to be joined not just by Hell's Kitchen Chef, but a Hell's Kitchen Chef from this current season. She's been actually on. She's been commenting my past podcast here as well.
I've been secretly trolling in the background. So hello.
Yeah. Actually, everyone, please welcome Chef Hannah Flora to our stream. Hannah, how are you doing?
Currently, right now, I'm good. I mean, that was a fun episode to watch. I think there's lots to laugh about. Super interesting. So I'm excited to hear your guys' point of view.
Yep, and yeah, coming back after having a miss last week, we got Ultra. Ultra, how are you doing, man? Welcome back.
I'm doing good. I guess to more verbally say it, my shift completely out of nowhere. Like after the premiere episode, I came into work the next day and they said, "You're moving to swing shift." I'm just like, this happened last season too. Why'd this have to happen? So that being said, I'm not going to be missing every stream. I'm going to be doing my best to make at least every other stream using leave, which is a lot for me, but I do care about all this a lot, and I love this show. I don't want to miss it. So, you'll be seeing at least a little bit more of me throughout the season.
And Gumball is coming back as well. How are you doing, man? What do you think of this episode? We'll get more into it, of course, but what do you, as a new HK fan, how does this, what was it like to watch an episode like this? My goodness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a very fun episode. Pretty crazy again. Like, we're still technically in Big Brother season, but it was the final 4 rounds. So, like, I was able to pay most of my attention towards this episode. And yeah, it was a very fun ride through and through.
Yeah, got a lot of what's up, everyone. Is so happy you can join not just me, Gumbo, and Ultra, but of course, Chef Hannah. And if you guys have it, guys, just remember, Hannah cannot spoil anything, of course. So if you guys got any questions, please make it be about these first 3 episodes or just general questions, and don't ask her any spoiler questions. But yeah, I got to ask though, Hannah, with that said though, what's these past couple of months been like for you? Be on the show, having to wait, and like, just even right now, a day like today, you come home and you see yourself on TV with millions of people watching. Like, what's that like, as of right now, what's that been like?
It has been leading up to the premiere 3 weeks ago. Super anxiety ridden. I don't know what they're going to show. I don't know how it's going to be edited. So all of that stuff is like, I only know what I did, and I only know what we did as a team. So watching it now and seeing it in real time with everybody, it's crazy to see, because that whole time was just nothing but a blur. So watching it back, it's like, oh, that's what I did. Okay. It's like, I don't remember anything, forgot about it, came home, went along my, normal days. And now it's like, I'm anxious for each season. I'm super excited for each Thursday now. So it's fun. It's super fun to watch it back.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, because I was kind of wondering which you were gonna think about last week, but obviously it seems like you don't really remember much about the service, or do you?
Well, it's like now it's like bits and pieces are coming back to me, like little by little. So I mean, watching tonight's episode, that service, we felt better about it. Coming off of night 1, which we sucked. I'm pretty sure everyone did, both blue and red. So now it's our redemption service this time. So I think we did better. We definitely figured out how to communicate.
For sure, yeah. All right. Yeah. Like I said, the service was a lot better, but this episode, oh my goodness, what an episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so guys, like I said, guys, we'll get into this episode. And like I said, if you have questions for Hannah, got some more What's Up, Hannah. I know we started a little bit early, guys, so if you guys are just coming in now, we did start early. So yeah, there's your what's up from everyone, Hannah and all of us here. All right, cool. So Gumball, I'll start with you. So Magali had quite the flashback to begin this episode, had her background to begin this episode. Sometimes it's hit or miss in Hell's Kitchen. Some people who survive elimination just kind of move on with the rest of the episode. Magali got her flashback right away, got her emotional scene right away. And as we know, we suspected last week that she survived because she had started off strong. We think she can go far. So, Gumball, do you think with her flashback right after almost going home is going to set her up for the long term? Or do you think that was it was the perfect time to give her a flashback?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a good time to give her a flashback. I mean, it was definitely more than it was definitely more than necessary considering the circumstances, considering she had just survived the block. But it is kind of strange as well that we got it from Magali of all people, considering how quiet she was, relatively speaking, across these first 2 episodes. Certainly wasn't expecting Magali of all people to get this sort of treatment after being on the blog, but I do think it definitely helps her case a little bit.
And Ultra, I'll go to you. I know obviously you missed last week, so and you can also, this is your chance also to kind of talk about last week's premiere, where you think, or not premiere, but opening service, if you have any comments about that, and Magali in general. What's your overall thoughts on all this?
So as far as the premiere went, initially I was gonna, had I been here, I would have been the cockiest SOB because I would have been like, yeah, I got really good draft picks, which y'all acknowledged. But yeah, like this round might be a little bit different because I now have lost a pick. In fact, Gumball is the only person amongst us who's got their draft team totally intact so far. But wow. Yeah, as a first service, I thought was very exciting. It was cool seeing the reward challenge again be as good as it was because y'all like absolutely killed it. You, Hannah, you, red team, blue team, all of you had amazing dishes. And then we cut to this new episode where, yeah, the emotional content we got from Magali instantly endears me even more to her, as is. The only real drawback I have is that I think Magali is now the first chef who has presented an outright bad dish at all in this show, like full on bad, as in like at best maybe a 2 out of 5. And I think that'd be a little generous for Gordon Ramsay because yeah, that crab did not look very appealing.
That is true. Yeah, I forgot about that. After her biggest scene, she was and the challenge. We'll get that in a second, but she had like really the only bad challenge dish of the. Then, like you said, Ultra, like really bad all around. Oh yeah. So Hannah, I'm interested to hear this because a lot of people. I don't know how much you know about Michelle, but a very controversial figure in the show's history. What's it been like working with Michelle? What's she like as a sous chef?
So Michelle is extremely knowledgeable. She does, assist and help and guide. She's a silent leader, knows what she's talking about, chimes in at the right times. She let us kind of do what we do, and she was there to assist if she saw that we were struggling. So I enjoyed working with Michelle. I did.
Cool. All right. And speaking of enjoy, do you enjoy working with seafood, Hannah, at all?
With seafood?
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I live in Florida. How can you not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, that explains why you dominated this challenge. Before we get to that, I guess I forgot about this. Are you also a morning person?
A morning person? I am not. Did you see
not?
that?
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So what was this? So I guess that's why this challenge was so brutal. We'll get into this second, but this challenge ended up being, will go down as like an all-time memorable challenge for not the best of reasons. So yeah, was it as brutal as it seemed?
It was different, getting woken up with pots and pans at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning is something that no one wants. But like I think we were all expecting something like that to happen one of these mornings. The seafood tower challenge was different, because everyone does seafood towers that's cold, so we have to make it hot. Seafood hot can either be good or really bad. So it really did test us, and it was fun to figure out, number one, what we're doing. Number two, how is it going to work as a cohesive seafood tower?
Cool. So you felt pretty confident about you had oysters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did like a sweet and sour oyster, and I was confident in those. I was proud of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. End up also getting a point with Egypt, but Gumball, your number. I forgot where was Egypt for you on your power rankings this week?
So he was number 2 after episode 1, but then after episode 2, he dropped to number 7. And I think based off what we got from him this episode, I don't think he's going back up anytime soon.
Yeah, because right away, even when he got a point, Gumball, like even then, who was he fighting with again during the challenge? He was that was throughout the entire episode too. It's because usually when that happens, like when they have a fight, like the person who ends up going up like has a bad dish, but he had a good dish and they still decide to put this in, And also, maybe do you think they were trying to maybe look Brandon look bad as well? Like, we'll talk about, and obviously this wasn't the last of Egypt and Brandon throughout the episode, but what do you think of this little scuffle?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Like, obviously, it carries over to the service as well, but it is definitely an interesting turn for Brandon's edit across the season. Like, I feel like Brandon was someone who didn't really have much to do in the premiere, but I feel like since then he's been getting a bit more. Episode 2, like he was shown winning the punishment pass, and then this episode, like it seems like they finally found a purpose for him in just being like a foil to Egypt, in the sense that he's constantly talking about how Egypt's full of himself. So yeah, it's sort of interesting how they slipped that into the challenge as well. Like when it didn't seem to factor into the actual outcome, especially considering yeah, Brandon didn't even compete in the challenge, like because like
Yeah.
they were fighting for like who gets to be on like that level of the tower. So like I guess it was necessary, but it also carried over to service. So again, interesting turn for Brandon so far.
So, Hannah, two-part question. Before we answer this one, so as someone on the red team, do you notice all the stuff that's happened in the blue team? Do you have like an idea of like the nothing whatsoever?
No. So during the challenges, we like number one, we're just laser focused on what we're doing personally. But we have to remember in the back of our minds that it's a team challenge too. So not only are you doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for your team. So we didn't think anything of the blue team. We don't know what's going on. We don't even see on the other side of that wall. We don't see their dishes until they're up on the pass too. So seeing it now tonight, what everyone did and how they did it, and like the camaraderie that happened in the blue kitchen, it kind of makes sense. Going into dinner service, why there was beef.
Yeah. And if you can't answer this, do you have who is one of your favorite chefs to work with this season, or if you still get along with them?
Well, I mean, my favorite chef from this season, I'd be a fool not to say Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Is that that's like a trick question. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, well then, who is your favorite chef to work with on your team then?
On my team?
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, I loved every single one of them. I think that each day, certain personalities came out. So I would say just overall, my favorite, I think Brittany, because as we saw tonight, she is very comforting. She was with Magali, helping Magali through hard times, and she overall just wants to care for us. So she was kind of like our mother figure. She was a good person to talk to if we had a bad service, bad day, missing home. So personal level, Brittany.
I can see that for sure. Yeah. All right, yeah, some highlights from the challenge that I got. Magali, again, like you said, Ultra really had an awful dish. Corbin overcooking the scouts, which would be a theme, which ended up costing the blue team in the end, which led to the red team winning. And so, Hannah, how was that kayaking reward in Connecticut?
That was beautiful. I mean, just the smell of the fresh air. We've been in Hell's Kitchen at this point for maybe three days. We don't see, daylight. We do a little bit, but it's like you're very much inside. You're living, breathing, sleeping Hell's Kitchen. So being able to get this reward, not only the first night, but now the second time too, you're out in the open. You're having lunch. I mean, those kayaks were awesome. The water's beautiful. I mean, the Mystic River itself is like iconic.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. But speaking of iconic, Ultra, again, this would be the start of an all-time iconic episode. I guess I didn't ask you that, Ultra. Did you think that anyone was going home? Because as we know, the edit, or get medevac, because as we know, the edit can sometimes, mislead us. I was 100% confident. I know Gumball is kind of on the fence. Did you think anyone was getting medevac this episode?
Yeah, and I was leaning towards Shant because from the shots they were showing just in the promo for this episode at the end of the last one, I was like, I don't see Shant anywhere. I don't think he's going to be in much of the episode. And if we're going by everything else in the episode, if there was going to be any other kind of elimination, while I was kind of on the fence if they would have a third boot, I was like, I think Corbin can go this episode because the one clip I did recognize from him from before the season started, from like all the upcoming footage, was the clip of Gordon Ramsay comparing him to like the Statue of Liberty. And I'm like, well, we've seen that. And yeah, it's another one of those really passive coasting through service kind of performances. I think he's done. And I was right.
So, Gumball, when it was revealed that both Uri and Shant got injured during the challenge, what did you think? Did you actually honestly believe both were going home, or did you think one was going home at the time? And if so, which one did you think was going to get medevac, or did you still believe both would find a way through it?
So again, at the very first mention, Shant mentioned there being pain during like the morning like carrying the boxes thing, I was like, he's done. Like
Yeah.
this is gonna get worse. He's gonna get pulled. Like that's it. Yuri is a bit more on the fence about. It's like maybe he'll try to muscle his way through service and then like struggle, like maybe. But again, he wasn't someone I was. Again, if you were an early boot, like again, I wouldn't have shocked me too much. But again, the fact that they both like drop right before service is like really insane. The fact that the blue team's immediately down by one when they were originally up by one was really insane there. So like again, like big loss right there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think, boy, poor Shant. I mean, even in his confessional, what was he doing? Going like this with his shoulder or whatever? He couldn't even like be in a proper position for the confessional. Man, oh man, that was brutal. Yeah, and so unfortunately, I mean, there is no question about it at that point that we all kind of agreed Shant would have to be wasn't coming back for this competition. And unfortunately, that is the end of the road for Shant, my 2 overall picks. So I'll just go through the panel. Ultra, what's your overall thoughts on Shant this season?
He seemed more level-headed than Corbin at the very least. I think he at least deserved to last longer than him. And yeah, probably Yuri. We'll get to him in a minute. But I did see a lot of drive in him. I saw talent. I still don't know if I would have picked him second on my. I mean, you saw who my second pick was. I went Wit and then Anthony. But that being said, I don't fault you for at least thinking he had potential. In the end, it just didn't quite pan out, and I do feel for him. I hope any back or shoulder pain that he was going through at the time has healed up since then.
Yeah, chat. We need to, just like with last year, bring back Brad. Now we got to do a bring back Shant. Excuse me, Gumball. So with that, kind of going off of that, how far do you think Shant could have made it had this not happened?
I think he could have made it like through like I don't know, like probably like mid pre Black Jackets. Like I don't think he would have been an early boot. I thought the most likely case was that he was going to continue to like kind of struggle through services, maybe have a couple okay ones, maybe touch the block one or two more times, and then eventually be cut like I don't know around the like 7th or 8th elimination, like pre Black Jackets. So yeah, to lose him so early, like, was a bit of a shock for me, even though I didn't really see him as a top contender.
All righty. And unfortunately, so we all thought so Ultra, now let me ask you this. Did you think that with Uri's did you think that Uri was also gonna throw in the towel? I mean, I shouldn't say that throw in the towel, but did you also think he was gonna medevac/quit after Shant's medevac?
I mean, I know what you mean, and I think Wikipedia already updated it kind of as a quit. It kind of does, but I sort of group it in as well with like medevacs. But I was on the fence at first about that, but then I saw what kind of pain he was in, and I'm like, yeah, I think you and Shant might be kind of in the same boat, and I feel really bad about that too. Also, because we're on this entire thing about bring back Brad and Shant, I wouldn't include Shant in this specifically, but I'm suddenly noticing a bizarre trend in recent Hell's Kitchen seasons. So between Yuri in this season, Brad from last season, and then go back a tiny bit to Chris from Rookies versus Veterans. What is it with Hell's Kitchen chefs of Hispanic heritage somehow being medevaced early on? That is weird. And yeah, a little bit of Spanish isn't all of them from what I heard. I remember Chris mentioning having like Portuguese in him, Yuri Argentinian, Brad, I believe it was I believe that was Puerto Rican, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so I was like, that's a really bad trend. I don't want to see these guys go home. They all seem really nice.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Uri, I mean, he realized, hey, credit to him, he realized his health was in serious danger. And unbelievably, for the first time in Hell's Kitchen history, we would have a double medevac. Down goes Uri. I was shocked about this. I mean, Ultra Gumball, we were all there. We were all thinking he was gonna be the villain this season. So Gumball, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think? This is a very, very odd edit, in my opinion, for Uri. Like, they set him up as the villain early on, like a big character, only for him to not only be medevaced, but medevaced, right after Shant's elimination. Almost, I shouldn't say like, almost like wasn't as big of a deal, but like it was kind of like just like that, it's over with. So what do you think about Uri run this season?
Yeah, it was a strange way he was presented here. Like, again, like I thought he had some legs to be on the show for a bit. Definitely be a bigger presence on the show, if I'm being honest, because admittedly he was a bit more subdued in episode 2. Like he wasn't being as big of a villain, but yeah, like it seemed like he was pretty primed to be like a fun character during like the early part of the season. But yeah, like he ends up going out in a pretty underwhelming way. Like obviously I feel bad for him, like and Shant too. Like it really sucks, for you to go out in such a way, like not even really on your own terms. But yeah, it's still shocking to like lose him in this specific way. Like I thought he was gonna have like more rivalries, like, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, the stuff that the cat brings up, that makes his like episode 1, like, just making him kind of seem like the villain out of nowhere, with the whole complaint over punishment and like getting the fights with Joe, I think it was. Really, they kind of just makes it seem like, what was the whole point of that? You literally kind of led to nothing. I guess they just need something to fill the episode. But so Ultra, now kind of, on to you now. How do you think Uri would have done this season had it not been for his medevac?
I'm thinking something similar to what Gumball thought of Shant, like maybe around the halfway point, perhaps a little higher. And that's not a diss against his talent. It's purely a measure of just how good everybody else is so far in this competition, that you just got to kind of like go by the tiniest little nicks. And I think maybe whatever conflict that Uri had been stirring up initially, it might have seemed pointless, but who knows? It could have gone on a little bit longer. And sometimes if you aren't able to garner respect from your teammates, that can factor into later performances, i.e. Russell from season 8. And okay, Uri's not as bad as Russell from season 8. I want to make that clear. But like there is like that could lead to something, and that's all I got, because like otherwise I didn't see anything that wrong with him. And sure, there was a little bit of conflict, but it's the same kind of conflict I see with any other delivery days. Like, oh, he's got the clipboard. Somebody has to, because there's been, I can't even count how many times on delivery day where people didn't read the sheet and an error was made that caused a lot of stuff to go wrong. So I'm not mad at Uri for doing that.
Yeah, I did not. I agree with this comment. They needed a better job. I did not like. They could have like made someone else the villain that premiere episode. I don't. That's kind of sticks icky with me that he would have to leave, and they kind of made him the villain for no reason, in my opinion. So at least in episode 1. So all right, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I could have seen Shant. I know he had a bad premiere episode, but I had a lot of high hopes in him. And Uri especially, whether he would have been the villain this season or just a good chef, he hadn't messed up really that much either. So, Hannah, what did you think? First of all, what was that like to see like 2 chefs go home in a span of like less than 24 hours? Did that give your red team a boost, or did that kind of set the morale down for everyone in the kitchen? Like, what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was shocking for everybody. Having Uri go home in the beginning of dinner service, I didn't think he was going to do that. When we came back from lunch and our reward, I did see Uri like on the bed, kind of just, holding his shoulder. And I was like, hey, are you going to make it for dinner? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to make it. And, us in the kitchen, we never put our health first like we should, where we try to be superheroes all the time. But I'm proud that he, decided, hey, listen, I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to give my best performance. But having to go home before dinner service, I was like, okay, what's going to happen tonight? We had no idea that we were going to move into another elimination. So it was shocking.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, we might have lost 2 people on the show, but we got one more person to add to the stream tonight. What is going on, Ruby? Welcome. Now we got 5 people here. What's going on, Ruby? What do you think of this all-time iconic episode? Everyone say hi to Ruby.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Flynn. Hi, Ultra. Hi, Gumball. Nice to see you on camera, Hannah.
Hello.
All I know about this episode, I started tuning in after the challenge. So all I know is somehow Shant goes to the hospital and has to go home. Somehow Uri hurts his back and needs to be medevaced. I'll catch up on the challenge tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, Corbin goes home. And my whole thoughts about this were, it's number one, interesting to see a double, like 2 contestants go home in an unorthodox way in the same episode. That's the first. Hi, everybody. Yeah. So then, that just really shocked me right off the bat. And I didn't even see the context behind it. So, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, Ruby, when you do watch the episode tomorrow, it's been a punishment that's been done hundreds of times. Well, not hundreds of times, but like lots of times in Hell's Kitchen. And it just so happened like screw both Uri and Shant up. It's just very interesting how that happened, So
I see.
yeah, it was very interesting. So Hannah, what did you kind of feel? Obviously, that crazy first service was just so obviously crazy. So did you feel personally better going to the service now that the first service jitters out of the way? How did you kind of feel going to the second service, especially again after all that happened with the 2 medevacs?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We got the jitters out of the way. It's, it's a new kitchen, it's a new menu, it's a new team, it's a new flow of service. First night is always going to be crummy for everybody. So going into service 2, I think we were ready. We kind of huddled together before service, figured out a game plan. What did we do wrong, the night before? We felt good about it. Having blue team down 2 people before dinner service. I mean, I think we're all on the red team a little selfish at this point because we're like, okay, I mean, we have a 1-up. We can potentially win this one again. So I think that was our goal, is like, let's just show the blue team. Who cares if they're down 2 people? That's on them.
Mm-hmm. And you were put on the garnish station. So during service, it did show you that you were struggling a little bit at the start. How did you feel? What was I assume you were by yourself in the station too. Yeah. So what was that station like? Because a lot of contestants say that's like one of the hardest stations because you're right at the Ramsay, you have all that stuff going on. What was it like for you?
Yeah, so garnish, you're right next to Chef Ramsay the entire time. You're the one that's able to kind of see the tickets and communicate to everybody if they lost track of how many proteins they have. It's a solo station, whereas the other ones are teamed up. So everything is on you. And that one dish where I just forgot to drop the lentils in the beginning, should have communicated with Megan next to me about, hey, listen, let's slow down a little bit. Don't have me get yelled at again. But, it's bound to happen. So I quickly figured it out. It's like, I'm not slow, I promise.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I know obviously they do individual stations as the season goes on, but man, I didn't know that they only garnishes the individual station. That can definitely make things challenging for sure.
Yeah, so like night 2, I'm just like, okay, it's still brand new kitchen, still brand new menu. I got to get it together quick because I'm by myself.
So yeah, so overall, yeah, and I know they showed your mistake and obviously Brittany's speaking that stuff. Was there anything else that we missed from the episode that they didn't show, or is that generally the only mistakes?
There is one thing from the episode they didn't show, and poor thing, I was talking with Magali, and I'm like, and she even wishes it was on here. So during the seafood challenge, during the we have to unload the seafood truck that morning in our pajamas. Magali is carrying a giant case of salmon, and she is running as fast as she can to try to get it into the kitchen, and she falls down the stairs and drops the whole thing. So we were like, okay, I hope they got that edit in there because everyone needs to see you falling in your pajamas, carrying the salmon. It's all over the place. So a little sad it didn't get in there because that would have been like a really good laugh.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, I think it would have also been in poor taste because of, what happened later on in the episode. But.
That's true. Yeah.
Probably.
And also we were talking about that earlier, Ruby, that Magali got a big flashback, personal content as well. So that, Gumball, we're kind of talking about earlier, maybe that's a sign, they decided to show Magali's good part as opposed to her falling, so who knows?
Yeah, I think you do have a point, Flynn, in the sense of like, it's just, you don't want to, even if it's funny, you don't want to add necessarily a negative to Magali if she's going to go far because she just had a negative last week, right?
Right, that's what I'm thinking. All right, guys. So yeah, chat, answer this question as well. I'm kind of interested to hear what you guys think. Where does this episode rank for all time? Of course, we still got to talk about one more elimination, but again, 2 medevacs in one night, 3 eliminations, all timers. I mean, the rest of the episode is kind of your normal Hell's Kitchen. So like, is this like more of a memorable episode for you, Ultra, or is this like an all-time great one? Where does this episode, rank for you?
Definitely memorable. I think that because of this triple elimination, it's absolutely going to be one where, like, yeah, you got to remember when this all happened. It's a little significant for me as well, specifically because in the last stream I was a part of, I mentioned that I'm working on a video of the top 10 worst Hell's Kitchen worst station partners in Hell's Kitchen we've ever gotten. The filming's all done. I'm not revising any of it, but I'm not going to lie, I'm half tempted to include Egypt and Corbin as an honorary number 11 because I'm like, yeah, sorry, you dropped the ball big time. And
Yeah.
so, and I know I'm thinking like, wow, it's like you only have like that many picks. It's like I have a certain set of rules, which the video will go over when it comes out. But yeah, all the same, it was a very memorably bad service because he had a really bad duo on one station in the Blue Kitchen, as well as some decent conflict that was going on between Egypt and Brandon. And I'm not just saying this because he's on my draft team, but I kind of side with Brandon. I think Egypt's a little intense and is asserting himself a tiny bit much in the kitchen, like where it's not needed. So, but that's not to say that Brandon's off scot-free because he did still mess up sometimes to his own fault, not just Egypt's.
Yeah, Ruby, Gumball, same question for you. Like I said, I don't think the episode was like it was obviously a great one, but I don't think it's going to go down as like an all-time great one. Just more so all-time memorable one, given the circumstances. I guess Ruby haven't watched it, so Gumball, what do you think? Where does this episode rank for you?
It's definitely a memorable one. Like, I wouldn't say it's like, I don't think it's as entertaining as it could have been. Like, I think the main appeal to it is the fact that you had 3 eliminations in the episode, which is obviously like something that stands out on its own. But I think in the back of my head, I'm also thinking, are they just going to have more non-elims in the future? Like, I think that could be a downstream effect of that.
Yeah.
We can talk about it right now, yeah, because I'm genuinely curious in chat. You can answer this as well. What does this mean for the future? Are we gonna? Because usually by this point in the season, where there's only 2 people gone, now there's 4 people gone. So how in the world are we going to get like 2 non-eliminations, 2 episodes featuring non-eliminations, or is the season gonna be shortened? Like I haven't checked.
I have an idea.
Tell me, what do you think?
So
in chat, what do you think?
Yeah, well, so I just want to say my opinion. Even though I haven't watched half of the episode yet, I still think so far. From what I see, I agree. I don't think it's going to be the greatest of all time, but it's in the top 10 most memorable of all time, just because of the 3 eliminations. I also want to give my point about Shant and Yuri. In my opinion, I feel that Shant, like, he could have made the top 10, in my opinion. I feel that, like, based on what I was seeing in the edit, yeah, he made one mistake, but I feel like his personality, the edit we were getting, I felt like he was going to get to the top 10. Yuri, not as much. I felt like that edit they gave him last week during the punishment, I felt that was an indication that maybe he was going to get, let's say, 14th, 13th, around there. But yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I got blindsided tonight, but yeah, that is just one. I wanted to give my thoughts on that. But as far as the as far as Gumball's point is concerned, I feel that what they're going to do is they're going to have a usual non-elimination episode at one point. They usually do that before the gift phase, before the top 10. And then what I think is going to happen is they're going to do top 6 black jackets. They're going to do a black jackets of 6 again, except this time they're not going to do a double elimination during the black jackets to make up for it. I think they're just going to continue as normal.
All right. Okay, so someone's knocking my door right now, so that's kind of freaking me out. So let's see.
Oh, I thought you were nervous because I was talking too much or something.
No, I don't know who the fuck's at my door, so that's kind of freaking me out. Someone talk real quick. I might have to leave here.
I have I actually had some questions for Hannah. If you need to go take care of that, Flynn, I'll take over for a quick second. Hannah, so I have a question for you regarding Amber, because she's the only person that has been shown from the season that's left from your team. How is she for you? Because I got from the edit they gave us, she looked like not an unpleasant person by any means, but more like she was playing it too strategically. Like, again, she threw Magali under the bus, and I'm like, I don't blame her, but it's a little low. So did that translate at all to her personality?
Yes. Is she talented? Yes, in her own way. Was she, easy to get along with in the beginning? I'm gonna have to say personally, not so much. The show does say that there's big egos. I will say that she's probably one of them. Don't wish anyone bad. However, it's everyone's game in the beginning, and we can't start letting our egos show too early on. Like, we don't even know what we're walking into. Let's take it down a notch, because right now we're all on line cook level. We might be head chefs where we're from, but right now we are Gordon Ramsay's brigade. So how are we going to prove ourselves? It's super important not to get too cocky in the beginning. And I think that might have helped with her, decline in that first service, which is unfortunate.
By the way, Flynn, was it Raj at the door?
I saw that comment. No, we're all good. Yeah, I've seen way too many. I've seen way too many horror stories of people on stream, and something bad happened. So we're all good. I just I was scared for.
I don't think we're in Unfriended. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was
Oh
just
yeah.
thinking about that film. You said horror films on stream, and that's the first one I thought of.
Could you just imagine, like, legit, like, if like a Hell's Kitchen contestant just arrived at my door, just found out where I live, and it's like, hey, what's up, bro?
Uh-oh.
It'd be a reverse Katie situation.
It's Amber.
Your record.
No, Flynn, it'd be a reverse KDG.
Dude, I would legit pass out if Raj at my door just now. Oh my god, legitimately, that would be the funniest thing ever. Okay, I have no idea where we're at. We're talking about service now, right? We talked about the blue team, so we should talk about the blue team. Okay, cool. Let's see here. So the only only saw like 3 people on the blue team messing up, but it was a pretty not a disastrous messed up, but Gumball once again. First it was Egypt and Brandon, and that happened later on. But on the fish station, Egypt and Corbin once again having beef. What is going on with Egypt, Gumball? What do you think about now Corbin getting involved? The quiet and reserved Corbin even can't take Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy how Egypt has been going down that direction. Kind of really embracing the head chef theme of the season, it seems. And yeah, definitely rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. I am regretting having him on my draft team, but again, you can't get them all. But yeah, Corbin was also someone who didn't get that much screen time in the first couple of episodes, and I think across like the people on this panel, he was kind of seen as someone who's pretty primed to be an early boot, all things considered. Like, and he was pretty low on my power ranking for those couple of episodes that he was on. So, but yeah, interesting that I got more screen time. Interesting that he was once again kind of being shown as a bit of a donkey, but so is Corbin, I guess.
I have thoughts about Egypt at the moment because on one hand, I'm a little glad I don't have him on my team, only because, like, yeah, just from the promos I was seeing, I felt like his emotions might get the better of him, and that's looking to be a little proven true. But on the other hand, I somewhat wish I got him on my team. I mean, you picked him first, I wouldn't have had the option, but he's actually kind of reminding me to a lesser intensity of Mark from season 19 a tiny bit, in that he really does want to be the center of attention on so much of the team, and that does in fact breed a lot of conflict, which the producers they like to try and keep them around. So I think that actually could bring him a little bit further than I might have expected. I mean, a lot of people I think expected him to go like really far because some promos just showed him being vocal and they're like, oh, that's a leader. Then the show starts and they're like, oh, he's probably
too much
egos on the team, maybe bring it down. Now, because I'm seeing like how the ego could be utilized for the edit's sake, I feel as though it kind of mills that out a little bit. So I wouldn't say he's in the winner ranking unless there's like a massive is it face turn? I forget which one it is.
Heel turn. Oh no. Heel turn is for the negative, right?
Yeah, it could be a face turn because, like, again, I'm sure he's a nice guy. Like, not as a dude. It's just
turnaround. I think that's a turnaround.
Like he's I can tell he's a very passionate chef, and that was also true of Mark in season 19. So, yeah, I think he actually could go a little further than I would have expected. I wouldn't count yourself out with that pick quite yet, Gumball.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I said this before, I think most of the Hell's Kitchen villains, you meet them in real life, they're fine, and it's just the edit that gave them a rough edge. As far as Egypt is concerned, at least from the edit's point of view, the way I see it is it's kind of like I'm a teacher, and it's kind of like when you tell a kid to like you encourage them to like answer questions and participate, but then there's always, and I admit I was like this when I was younger. You raise your hand on every single problem that the teacher answers, and I think that's Egypt right now.
That was me. So I totally relate.
What about you, Hannah? Like I mean, I know you can't spoil the rest of the season, but these first 3 episodes, was Egypt really as out there as the edit's making him out to be?
Yes. He started off strong with that ego to the point where, I mean, I think we were all just like, okay, calm down. Like, we get it. You've made your point. And he was super strong, super passionate in the beginning. And, ego and passion is a blessing and a curse. So I think he uses it to his benefit, in this episode, showing that, yes, I have a voice, I can lead a team. However, other people don't like that. And it's okay. Like, you don't have to be liked by everybody. At the end of the day, it's an individual competition. And I think that, tonight was a good representation of how he leads a kitchen.
I have another question. Actually, not even related to Hell's Kitchen, just related to you, Hannah. You're currently in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing okay in the wake of Milton?
Yeah. I mean, there's certain areas down here that got it really bad. Wellington with the tornadoes, Okeechobee, the St. Pete, Tampa coast completely annihilated. Where I am personally, luckily it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I mean, it's always scary with hurricanes. You never know where they're gonna go.
Yeah, I was making sure you're safe. Out of curiosity, did you get any of Helene either, or is that a little further north?
Helene was more so on the other coast and north, so that didn't hit South Florida. Puppy, that didn't really hit my south area too much. So luckily, it wasn't like a back-to-back. However, I know other people on the other coast that got smacked twice in a row. So, and word on the street is there's another one coming. So
I'm hoping that y'all stay safe.
Yeah, USA, man, like in the south with all these hurricanes, like that's like what I'm used to here in Quebec is just like the worst thing that could happen. Actually, we had a really bad flood in the during the summer, but that's like pretty much the worst that can happen here. That like power outage during a blackout, during a blizzard. Yeah, so
I think personally, growing up in the Midwest, I think tornadoes are scarier than hurricanes because they just come up out of nowhere. You don't expect them and they just tear through everything. Whereas hurricanes, like you kind of have a warning and it's like wind.
Yeah. What I find is weird about tornadoes is like you go, is that they pass through the Midwest and then like it's like the tornadoes can sense where the Canadian border is because once the Canadian border comes, boom, they just like all of a sudden calm down. The next, people in Ontario and Quebec are like, it's a bit windy, and that's it. Like the breeze is stronger than usual, but that's as far as it gets.
I second what Hannah was saying a minute ago about tornadoes. I don't currently live there, but my hometown is Oklahoma City. So yeah, we've gotten a couple record-breaking tornadoes like all back to back, and I will say, like, while they are technically scarier, at least than hurricanes in the sense you can't get a warning, I don't know. I almost expected them after a while. I'm not saying I'm not saying take them lightly. I'm just saying they barely make me flinch at this point. So I just know the routine. Get to a place that has no windows and then just crouch down.
Yeah, just go to like a bathtub.
Right.
I mean, I think that's it. Like you guys would. It's funny because we're all, where I come from, it's like we get horrified when we watch the news and it's like, holy crap, there's so much damage. How do you guys live with this? And it's like, well, we're used to it, and that's just like, it's like we're used to blizzards. That's it. and the flood was a freaking disaster though this summer, I was driving my streets and so many people's crap and flooring on the road, and that was the first I've ever seen of that in my life, and it was kind of like, for us, it's like a big once-in-a-lifetime story, you know what I mean? Like,
Flora, I have a question, because when you came back, you wrote a message saying, fuck Karens. What's that story?
I don't know what the hell they want. I'm trying to do a podcast right now. They want me to do some
that's who's at your door.
Yeah, I'm trying to freaking concentrate right now. I was asking, okay, I don't even really know what they were asking for, honestly. So whatever, I just turned off all my. They wanted some lighting. Turn off the lights or whatever. So I turned off the lights for them, I guess. But
was it Tiffany?
Say what?
Was it Tiffany?
No, not Tiffany. No. All right, let's just move. Okay, I'm glad you guys were able to. I thank you guys for doing that. While we were gone, sounds like you guys were having a natural disaster talk.
Yes.
Yeah, I was making sure that because Hannah was in Florida that she was doing okay in the wake of Milton, which said she was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see her, bloodied and battered behind, I think in front of a broken down house.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm sure she's going to come back, so I'm going to try to ignore her the rest of the night. So, all right. Finally, let's talk about service. Holy crap, we tried this once. Let's try this again. Oh wait, no, we didn't. I remember. Didn't I ask you guys that? I was talking
a little
to you
bit about service. You asked me. I believe you asked Gumball next.
And I was talking to
Yeah,
Gumball
you
about
asked me about Egypt.
in Egypt. Yeah, I assume you answered that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we had so then Ultra then freaking then Corbin went to help out Brandon, who was also having problems with Egypt, which carried over into service, and then Corbin was doing nothing. So what's your take on the blue team service here? Like, obviously it's like a good bounce back for them, but also some three key I mean, we all kind of figured Corbin would do bad, but Brandon, who had been doing so well, had an awful night. And Egypt once again being the center of problems for seemingly no reason. Or do you think, maybe he is a problem now, like 3 episodes in? Overall thoughts on the service?
I mean, you could be a really good chef and still make mistakes. I mean, respectfully, Hannah, you made a few mistakes. I think you're a great chef still, from what I've seen. Like I just going off what I saw, but yeah, like I do at least agree that while Brandon made mistakes, if Egypt and Corbin deserve more to be nominated, and it was not surprising to me at all that Corbin went home, ignoring the promos. If you just look at the trend in Hell's Kitchen, the more passive you are in service, the more likely you are to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Because one, you're doing less in the kitchen, and two, you're also proving less as far as actually having leadership skills. And yeah, of all the people on that blue team, the person that I had the least confidence in to lead, at least in that setting, was Corbin.
Yeah, I think where the one thing I disagree with you on Ultra is I think or at least maybe I didn't, maybe I was tuned out at one point, but it seemed that Brandon and Corbin should have been the nominees in my opinion. I felt that Egypt, it was again more of a personality thing, which I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm just saying for me that early in the game, I feel like you're going to go with who's making more mistakes. I personally feel that it's funny because going into the nominations, I was predicting, it's going to be Brandon in Egypt, the nominees, and Ramsay's going to give them both a break because I feel like both of them deserve it. And then it's like, oh yeah, sure, forgot about that one guy standing petrified, like the Statue of Liberty. Oh yeah, Corbin. And then they would discuss, his name floated around, and I'm like, based on his edit, he could very well go home, But then I got to the nomination, and Corbin and Egypt both made really good points about how it's like, I think he's too quiet, that's why we were done, and I think he's too loud, that's why I was frozen. And that's why it didn't work out. But at the same time, the way when Ramsay asked them both, why should you stay in the Hell's Kitchen, both of them gave very quick 5-second answers according to the edit, which makes me think they're rushing through it. I think they're just going to give them both a safe pass, and it's going to be a non-elimination. And then, Corbin's out. So it's like surprise for a split second, but then not surprised because, Corbin wasn't getting the stronger edit anyway. So, but, as far as Corbin's concerned, yeah, I agree. It was kind of like Gennaro, too much, I mean, Gennaro was a lack of passion, but still was too quiet that it's not gonna look good in
Gennaro, Elliot, I think I kind of want to go with Amanda from season 9 as well. Kind of. I don't know. There's a couple shows that I could definitely say it's more that either they had nothing going on, like nothing in service that was giving them any kind of positive. They were just sort of there, or they kind of gave up.
Yeah. Bye, Lucas.
Lucas, yeah, what's up? So yeah, guys, as we approach the end of the stream, I've answered some questions you guys have had for Hannah, but I'll give you 5-10 minutes at the end of the stream to ask her some questions as well. So yeah, let's get on to the final portion of this episode. So Ultra and Ruby already kind of talked about it. So Gumball, what did you think of the the nominations? And who did you think was going home, or did you honestly think anyone was going home? And chat, that goes for you too, because I was not expecting another triple elimination.
So the noms themselves were fine. I mean, obviously, Brandon didn't have the best service in the world, but again, I feel like Corbin and Egypt felt pretty justified at the end of the day. It didn't feel like that big of a deal. But yeah, I literally said this on my Big Brother stream while I was watching the episode live. I thought it was going to be a fake out. I thought it was going to be a non-elim, and then through that, they were probably just going to save it for later. But instead, no, it was an actual elimination, and that was bit surprising on paper, but again, when the choice was between Corbin and Egypt, it seemed like Corbin was pretty clearly the person going home here. I don't know, I feel like his edit was just kind of strange. In episode 1, he gives this really profound backstory about his mom raising him, but like they just kind of brushed past that. Episode 2 talks about being cool as a cucumber, but then immediately makes a mistake. And then episode 3 was not great either, being the Statue of Liberty and stuff. So again, didn't think Corbin was long for the game, but I didn't think there was going to be an elimination to begin with. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, I think if there's one other subject we could talk about, it's theorizing who among the women is going to be on the blue team next week. I'm going to open the discussion. I think it's going to be Lulu. I mean, I think she has one of the more noticeable accents on the red team, and they modified the voice in the promo, and so that's part of the reason why it makes sense. Also, the stature of the blurred figure. I just think it's going to be Lulu, and I feel like her temperament is going to make sense on the blue team as well.
Yeah, Hannah can't confirm, obviously, but I don't think she even has to. I'm with you. It's like most people in the stream seem to be saying the same thing, that yeah, it's pretty obviously Lulu, just because I give them credit of how they do their best to distort the voice and to blur the image out. It's actually pretty top tier editing from them on that front, but it's kind of all for naught. Like, it's so obvious who it is. I mean, if they happen to do a swerve and it's not Lulu, then fool me. But yeah, I think everybody kind of gets it, and I can see Lulu being a pretty good addition to the blue team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely agree. Again, I feel like it's pretty obviously Lulu, considering like the blur effect and stuff. Again, I think she'll probably be a good addition to the team. She seems to have performed pretty well so far, at least. So again,
yeah,
I
think she's gonna. Sorry, go on.
Just be interesting to see how she does going over to the blue team.
Yeah, I think she's gonna bring a danger to the field.
Don't worry, it wasn't Karen that time. I was just taking care of some stuff. Cool. So, yeah, I need to get there. What a night. This is going to be a stream. Let's talk about an episode I'm not going to forget. This is going to be a stream I'm not going to forget. All right, cool. So let's talk about, we had 2 medevacs, so 2 eliminations. And like I said, I don't know what you guys are really talking about, but I was not in a million years thinking we would see another elimination. But that's Hell's Kitchen for you. For the first time in Hell's Kitchen history, we had 3 people go home. The third of the night, that being Corbin.
Hey,
I know you guys kind of were probably talking about Corbin. Ultra, do you have any other thoughts on Corbin?
And he did about as well as I expected. Again, the promos didn't really give me any kind of hope he'd do very well. I was thinking if he'd either be first or second boot, and he was at least second boot in the sense that second person to be eliminated by Gordon Ramsay and not, because of medical problems. So it's kind of the truth, but no, officially he's 15th place, yeah, in this cast. So I guess a little better in that regard, but he's only 15th by default.
But it's but like you do have a point, Ultra. Like Flynn's like, I think you've already exhausted the top big guys on Corbin, but like, yeah, there's not much to exhaust. Like there wasn't much to talk about Corbin. It's just that's how it was,
Yeah, he was a pretty monotone personality. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clearly he was going to be an early boot, and a lot of people predicted. I just did not see him going out this way. So we're going to have to see how many non-elimination episodes we have, if Hell's Kitchen gets creative, if we have less episodes this season. But yeah, that is all on Corbin. We'll see what it's kind of said pretty much a useless. Someone could even say he is the weakest chef of season 23. I can see that.
Guys. I have an observation. You know how last season everybody was all on about how the chef Mateus had the last name Butts, and they were like, joking of that. On a similar level, and maybe this is just my nostalgia for the Disney Channel coming out, but I'm kind of sad that we didn't get any kind of Corbin Blue jokes because he's on the blue team, so it could kind of fit. So.
But yeah, I will say Corbin Blue, it sounds like Cordon Bleu, doesn't it?
Like the dish. I could see that. I could see that too.
It sounds a bit like Cordon Bleu, and also Corbin. The word Corbin sounds a bit like corbeille. Like if you translate not translate, but in French there's a word called corbeille, which means bin, like trash bin, kind of.
Also, to Corbin's credit, he's not that bad.
Yeah, I know. He's a good guy. He's just he got a very Gennaro edit. I'm just saying,
yeah. I wish him well, and he got 4 on St. Dish. That's better than a lot of these types of chefs do. But yeah, I just was like, my stock's a little more in a couple of these other people, like our guest.
There's Grant Armstrong, the biggest Chef Butts fan around. We're getting a bunch of throwback, Brad and Chef Butts, all this good stuff. But yeah, cool. So yeah, so that we already kind of talked about this episode. My goodness, what a start to the season so far. Hannah, obviously we'll have questions for you at the end for the chat. But yeah, what's your overall? Do you have any other comments about this episode that you want to talk about? The first two episodes that you want to share with the chat?
It's fun watching it back and seeing the other side of service, seeing the blue team and watching tonight and seeing how Corbin and Egypt and Brandon kind of all interacted together. We get short little Cliff Notes version after service before elimination back in the dorms. But, everything that they kind of told us in the dorms makes sense why they would put them up for elimination together. But no, it's fun to watch back and hear everyone's opinions and thoughts too.
Cool. And yeah, for you three, what's your thoughts on the season so far? Is it shaping up? I guess start with you, Gumball. Is it shaping up to be an all-time good one for you?
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up to be a pretty decent season. I think this has been a pretty solid start. Obviously, the service was a bit better from a cooking perspective. They were able to get through the service all right. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where we're going next.
And I saw a comment. Excuse me, I saw a comment earlier. What kind of got you? I can't remember if you talked about this or premiere. What kind of got you into cooking in the first place?
Well, honestly, I would say what started me into cooking is watching Iron Chef when I was little and seeing Kat Cora. So I was a huge Kat Cora on the old Iron Chefs, and I thought how cool it was that she was just this ball buster female in a kitchen, and I was like, that's going to be me one day. So that's where it kind of all stemmed from.
Nice.
What's without getting any spoilers, what's been like in general, what's the hardest thing about Hell's Kitchen? Lack of sleep, the punishments, the stress, what's all of it?
Well, I don't think she can answer the punishment part because
oh yeah,
spoilers, because she hasn't done one yet.
Okay, let's rephrase the question. What's the hardest part of the first 3 episodes?
Hardest part of the first 3 episodes is honestly like finding your sea legs. The lack of sleep in the beginning definitely doesn't help. The crazy personalities that you have to deal with day in and day out. You're living with 18 people and there's only 3 toilets.
Oh, yeah.
Really? That's absurd.
And this does not include the downstairs toilets, right? Like in the dining room.
We can't use those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
those are for customers only.
Exactly. Paying customers only.
So Hannah, so first of all, what was it like to talk to Gordon Ramsay the first time during the Senior Edition? What's he like? Everyone kind of says, he's kind of not as mean as he was, but I can only imagine like you feel differently actually seeing him in person. What's it like to cook for the great Gordon Ramsay?
So extremely nerve-wracking, I will say. It definitely shrinks you down when you're standing next to a chef that has 18 Michelin stars and definitely knows what he's talking about. But at the same time, it's super rewarding because you see this person, you see this chef and how much he's done. You look up to him. So it's like being able to work with your mentor is something that not a lot of people can say that they've done. He's an extremely great person. He wants you to succeed. Like, yes, he screams and yells, but every chef that is well seasoned, that sees someone else that's talented for one service that doesn't know what they're doing, I would get angry too. So being yelled at him, honestly, I take it as an honor.
For sure. Cool. All right, guys, as we approach the hour mark, we'll wrap this up. Ruby, I'll get to you in a second so you can go over your poll again. But yeah, overall, let's just go around the panel. Any other thoughts about this episode? I think I'll start with you, Ultra. Any other thoughts or comments you have about this episode?
I'm trying to think if there's anything because I would have. I guess the one thing I did consider is I'm not entirely sure what the point of the reward challenge being a seafood tower at all was. If it was a prep-based challenge, I could get that, but because they've done that too before. But essentially, it was just making different seafood dishes. I don't think the tower part was really necessary. That's just me, and that's nitpicking.
Gumball, any thoughts for you, or at least especially when it comes to your power rankings? I know obviously Egypt might have went down even slightly more. And like I always say, guys, don't forget to check out Gumball's power rankings. He does each week on his channel. But any thoughts for you when it comes to that, Gumball, for this as a little preview of what to come?
Yeah, admittedly, I don't think this episode changed too much on the rankings. I still feel like a lot of my contenders have remained the same from last week, which by the way, Hannah, like I do consider you a contender for what that's worth.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew, Rube, I know you haven't watched the episode, but if any other thoughts you got?
I'm looking forward to seeing what caused the two men to leave the competition. I'm also looking forward to next week so that Lulu can bring danger on the blue team's field. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so I guess it's kind of
what I did there.
Let's talk about next week. So I guess it's kind of I didn't watch the preview actually, but I guess it's kind of spoiled that Lulu's going to the men's team. So Ultra, I guess that's the big thing to talk about this episode, because Lulu was the main highlight. You can even argue the best of the best on the red team tonight. So do you think it's a combination? Do you think they were just kind of doing that since she is the one switching, or combination of the two? She's switching and she's a possible contender. What are your thoughts? How do you think Lulu's going to do in the blue team? Are we going to get a Natalie type moment or a Hassan type moment with this very, very early team switch?
I don't think she's going to immediately flounder. We haven't seen any instance of like outright weakness from her yet, and you can always bounce back from like any mistakes, obviously, in service. But yeah, like I think that she is being brought over there specifically as a strong link, and I don't know, like things could change. Like again, I was massively surprised that Hassan went out as fast as he did when he swapped. It could happen if it is Lulu who goes over. Probably is. But I don't know. I'm not immediately banking on her going home. Like not too fast either. I think at worst right now she could maybe just miss the Black Jackets, like just barely. And even then, again, that's just a stock of like how good everybody else is. So like I could be wrong on that too.
I think there are too many great chefs to call the Black Jackets this early, in my opinion.
True. Although I do want to say, I'm very sorry, Flynn, that you. Someone said that you apologized a minute ago for leaving 3 times in the middle of the stream. Hey, you can't. I can't fault you because people are bothering you at your door. But
it's good practice for the rest of us. We know.
You guys. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I was freaking out. Like, oh my, I could hear you guys talking in the background. So at least I knew you guys were doing well. So,
but yeah, ironically,
I appreciate that so much.
The times that you left in the service is also a number of chefs in your draft that have now been eliminated. And I'm like,
ouch.
I am so sorry.
3 out of 4 eliminated, Flynn.
Bye.
Oh my God.
You can go away for 2 seconds. Ouch, he does that to me. Oh man. All right. Timeout's over.
I had to.
And also someone made a comment earlier, like a third of the blue team's gone on one episode. That's just, what an all-time crazy episode. What an all-time crazy night. So I think it's about time to wrap it up. Ruby, before we send off Ruby, I'll show the poll real quick. Give us an update for those of you guys that don't know Ruby. Again, for those who are new, he's on his channel every week. He's just pretty much doing a contest of try to figure out who the most popular Hell's Kitchen contestant is. And each week he eliminates like 18 people, right, Ruby? Or does it kind of matter each week?
So far, it's going to be 18 each week. And before we move on to who's eliminated this week, I'm just going to clear up that for the error that I discussed last week, I decided to, long story short, clear it up by bringing back 2 chefs that I'm not going to say their names, but 2 chefs that were previously eliminated back into the competition. And that's the only modification I'm going to make. And those 2 chefs, like I feel like they would have been not eliminated had it not been for my mistake. But as for the chefs eliminated this week, I'm probably going to be, it's probably going to be in, actually it's been mirrored. Perfect. Okay. So first off is Rob McHugh from season 8. And then we've got, okay, this is going to be rough.
Yeah, just go.
We've got Alex from season 9, what's it called? 20?
Young Guns.
Yeah, Young Guns, exactly. Then it was Sabrina from season 8. So, big personality gone. Then we've got Aaron from season 13. We've got Jessica from season 1.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I don't think Hannah's not a very big. You weren't much of a Hell's Kitchen fan coming into this, right? So you probably.
I watched a couple in the very beginning, and then I kind of fell out. So I'm trying to catch up with you on who these past contestants are.
Yeah, well, season one was one of my favorites. It's in fact, I was like last week before I came home from my my class. I was telling this one person, "Oh, I have to rush home. I'm going to be on a podcast for Hell's Kitchen," and we were talking in French, and he was telling me that long story short, he watched the very few early seasons, and that was it. And I told him my favorite contestant was Elsie, and moved on. Next one is Dan from season 11. I'm going to make it very fast, Flynn. I apologize. Next is Amber. Yeah.
Oh, already. Wow.
Amber's gone. And there's going to be another season 23 contestant eliminated right off the bat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is last week though. That doesn't make sense.
247th is Andrea from 5. Next is Alan from 15. Oh, shoot. Next one, and we have to zoom in more. We've got Brittany and Christian from 19 and 11. We've got Vanessa from 15 and Garrett from 2. Then we've got Melissa from 3 and our first winner eliminated, Ariel from 15. Oh, yeah. And then, here's the next contestant who was from season 23, and I want you guys to try to predict who it was.
Has to be Corbin, right?
Somebody who was not eliminated last week, and I actually was driving home today. I was like kind of feeling bad for this person because maybe they're gonna have a big turnaround and people will regret eliminating him. But something happened tonight, and it doesn't really change much. Yuri.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah. I'm telling you, Eddar's been so dirty. He didn't get eliminated. He's already like behind some of the all-time worst contestants. Oh my gosh,
he's not that bad.
And then we've got Suzanne from 6, and then finally the all-star here, Robin from 10 and 17.
How is Uri behind Suzanne and Robin? That's brutal. That's so brutal.
I mean, to be fair, they had better track records than he did. So
I didn't like Scott Lee in season 18, but he's not the worst of all time. That goes to either Frank from season 15 or Jason from season 4.
Okay, but I want to I'd rather go voting based off of talent. I mean, maybe Jason is a contender for that, but I'm not going to vote based off of who was the most sexist. I want to vote off based off of talent.
Yeah, but that is going to be how people will most likely vote.
And I get that, but people are going to go for Elise first.
It's fine. So yeah, guys. So this is funny. So if you want to play part of this crazy game, I post a link below. I'll post a link as well, probably in the pinned comment for this stream as well. Go to Ruby Stream so you can take part of it. So you can actually not vote for people on season 23 to be below Robin and Suzanne. Oh my goodness, I can only imagine who's below now. All right, guys. So yeah. Let's wrap up this stream here. It's been quite the episode. This has been all-time memorable episode and all-time memorable stream. My goodness. So, Ultra, start with you. I know you're working on a video. What's can people expect on your channel? Finally got a video coming soon for you, right?
Yeah, it'll be coming Halloween. I'm in the process of going through the editing. It's a little over halfway done, but even when it's done, I'm saving it specifically for Halloween just because I feel it's Hell's Kitchen based. That's enough of a connection, in my opinion. I'm very excited about this one. After that, I'm going to be doing, I don't know if it's going to make any sense to y'all, but the next HK video I'll be working on will be ranking every Hell's Kitchen welcome wagon. If you don't know what that means, you know the Signature Dish Challenge? I'm going to be ranking every season for the moments before that all starts. So like the head shaving thing that happened in season 10, the boot camp that happened in season 16, jumping off the roof in season 14, like what were the biggest, most exciting moments from those eras? And in a chat I had recently with Flynn, I got inspired for another top 10 list after that. The top 10 double elimination episodes. No, this one does not count because it's a triple, but maybe honorable elimination with that. But no, it just any episode where 2 people went home. I'm not gonna spoil any picks, but I think number 1 is gonna be kind of obvious if you know anything about Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, so as you guys know, guys, I'll put the comment one more time, Ruby. But again, take part of his poll. Of course, every Monday, for those who don't know, I know he does the power rankings, but every Monday morning, it's usually Monday morning, like really early, right? Gumball is when you do your power rankings.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
yes, every Monday morning, go check out his power rankings. And yeah, be sure to watch Hannah the rest of the season. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. This is far and away our most viewed episode of the season so far. I think you're an obvious reason for that. So yeah, hope you had a good time. Do you have any other comments for this, just in general for this season? What to expect in your life? Just any other final comments for the chat?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me crash this podcast. Super fun. Nice to meet everybody officially. If anyone follows me on Instagram, I have a website that's going to be launching soon with some cool stuff. Yeah. So check that out. And yeah, I mean, definitely stay tuned. Keep watching because it only gets better.
Oh man, it only gets better after this. Oh man, oh man.
I mean, we can't suck even more. So
yeah. All right.
We'll see about that.
Sure, unless you're the season 21 top 5.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks. This was an all-time great episode. Hopefully I didn't scare all y'all thinking I was gonna get killed or anything, but I'm here. I'm still alive. And with that said, be sure to check out this weekend's video. Gonna be 10 times Chef lied to Gordon Ramsay, and the following Sunday after that. Finally, I just finished it today. My biggest video up to date will be on again, not this Sunday, but the next. I'll remind you then. But just getting the hype up. And yeah, so yeah, it was quite a fun, memorable episode, fun podcast tonight. And with that said, Ruby, do you have one more comment before we call it a day?
Yeah, just post the link, please.
I will, dude. Trust me. Yeah. You're all good.
Sorry.
Thank you all so much, guys, and you have a good one. I'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
I think we